All right, welcome to another episode of Psoto Desperado Plays Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm in the middle of the Terrell 5 flashpoint, and I think I'm lost, but I'm not sure. So I left off here last time, and like I said before, I'm playing stuff in the background, but I can't switch screens, so this screen freezes, and then I have to come back to it. But I am putting the links to all the videos I'm playing in the background in the description. You can click on them and review the original videos if you wish. Okay? So with that, we will continue. Let me go ahead and start the video I have. This is from Michael Bondinero. Living has become unaffordable, except for the rich.
A lot of you who regularly watch my channel sent me this recent story about how the credit card defaults have now surged to the highest level since the Great Recession. And who better to talk about this than me, right? Because I've been talking about stuff like this for the last couple of years. And I want to talk about this not just because it's a concerning thing about our economy, but it also reveals the deeper issues that people are facing right now when it comes to expenses, when it comes to paying for life. And I want to dive into a lot of these things that goes beyond just the credit card debt. So first of all, the credit card companies. They wrote off $46 billion in seriously delinquent loan balances in the first 9 months of 2024, which they say is up 50% from the same period just 1 year ago and the highest level in 14 years. So a 50% increase, guys, in people not paying the bills. You know, I kept wondering why the most popular video I published on this channel was people have stopped paying their bills. Well, I guess we know the answer now. The answer is because it's true. That's exactly what's happening. Now, a credit write-off occurs when a lender decides it's unlikely that their borrower will make good on their debts. So in other words, they've tried to collect that debt from them. It didn't work. And they're saying, you know what, it's probably not going to happen, so we're just going to write this off as a loss. It doesn't mean that the person who owes the money is off the hook necessarily. They can still send you to collections, and they can try to get the money from you there. And obviously, it's going to have a major impact on your credit score, but I would imagine people who are not paying their bills like this probably don't care. Now, according to Mark Zandi, he's the head of Moody's Analytics. He says that the high-income households are fine, but the bottom third of U.S. consumers are tapped out. And normally, I ignore everything that this guy says, but in this particular case, I believe what he's saying is absolutely true. And notice the key words there, right? The bottom third of the U.S. consumer is tapped out. I believe that the number is actually higher than that, but let's roll with that for a minute and just imagine that's true. 1/3 of the people in this country have no money. 1/3 aren't paying the bills on time. 1/3 are seeing their credit scores deteriorate, eliminating the chances of being able to buy a home in the future or buy a new car or anything, right? So how can we have a well-functioning economy in a situation where 1/3 of people who participate in the economy are basically on a financial cliff and are not going to be able to participate in a way that most people regularly would do? Now, obviously, this sharp rise in defaults is a sign of how consumers' personal finances are becoming increasingly stretched over the years of high inflation that we have seen. People are leaning on the credit cards to pay bills, but they're not able to pay the credit card bill once it comes in. If they could, then they wouldn't need the credit card to pay their bills that they didn't have the money for to begin with. This is a telltale sign that those credit card debt levels that we've also been seeing climb to record highs that last reported was at 1.17 trillion are guaranteed to continue climbing throughout 2025. There's no sign of this slowing down. Unless everything gets magically cheaper overnight, you're going to see these numbers climb. You have Capital One, JP Morgan Chase, and Citigroup said that as of November of 2024, its annualized credit card write-off rate, which is the percentage of its overall loans which are marked as unrecoverable, hit 6.1%, up from 5.2% a year ago. And take a look at this chart, guys. This shows you the gravity of the situation, okay? People were already kind of not paying their bills even before the pandemic. You could see from 2015 all the way up through 2019, the credit card defaults were on the rise. And actually the pandemic tampered that down because people got so much free money, right? But it didn't take long, only a couple of years after that stimulus was received, for it to just skyrocket back up beyond where it was before the pandemic. And even though we are not at levels yet that we saw during the GFC, we're getting pretty close, and this might be the year where we actually match it or top it. And the credit card companies are just as much to blame for this as people, because the big mistake that credit card companies made during the pandemic is they ended up extending credit card loans to people they normally wouldn't, because they go based on your income, right? But because so many people were flush with cash in their bank accounts, they decided to give a lot of these people credit cards because they had money in the bank, as if somehow that means they're going to end up keeping that money. So this is just as much their fault as it is the people who are into this debt. Kind of like what we saw during the housing crisis back in 2008, when a lot of bad loans were given out. And who was responsible for giving those bad loans? Of course, the banks were. We wouldn't have seen nearly as many defaults and nearly as many foreclosures if the lending practices were tighter back then, like they supposedly are now, which I would argue is not really true. Is it tighter than it was back in 2006? Yeah, it is. But still easier to get a 0% or 1% down mortgage today than it has been in years. And to just give you an idea of just how fast people are spending money, okay? In the middle of 2023, that's when we finally hit the $1 trillion in credit card debt, and everybody, including myself, was announcing that here on YouTube, right? But now we're already at almost 1.2 trillion. Right? That means an extra $200 billion has been charged up and racked up in credit card debt just in the past year and a half. The personal debt situation is becoming just as exponential and just as problematic as our government situation, where they're just taking on more and more debt like there's no tomorrow. And pretty soon it's going to get to the point everyone's going to be defaulting, including the government. They say that higher balances and interest rates have left Americans who cannot pay off their credit card bills in full paying $170 billion in interest in the past 12 months, ending September of 2024. Obviously, those interest payments have sucked up a sizable amount of people's money from their bank accounts, which is why a lot of people on the lower income spectrum are having a hard time paying their bills. You know, they just had to write down $60 billion, right, over the first 9 months of 2024, and they're saying already going into 2025, there's another $37 billion that remains in consumers' cards that is at least 1 month overdue. So how much of that is going to end up getting written down too? Now, yeah, people say, well, this is just a write-off for the credit card companies and then they don't have to pay as much taxes and all this and that, right? But somebody ends up paying that bill. And who is that? Us, the taxpayers. It ultimately ends up coming back to you, right? Because think about it. If these companies get to write off billions of dollars, okay, and that contributes to how much less tax they have to pay, then that just means you as the individual, the regular W-2 earner, ends up having to pay more taxes. And then you see the government continue raising taxes on people like you. So this is good for the credit card companies, not so good for the average American. And this also brings up a point where, you know, the credit card companies and banks that are offering these irresponsible loans, just like they did with the great financial crisis that we had, they should be responsible, right? They shouldn't be able to just give unlimited amounts of credit to people who probably aren't going to be able to pay it back. There needs to be repercussions from them. They shouldn't be able to just write everything down and then, you know, use that as a tax deduction at tax time. That's not fair to everybody else who ends up having to foot the bill in the form of higher taxes and every other aspect of their life. And when we're seeing this level of delinquencies already going into the beginning of this year, guys, you can guarantee that this problem is going to continue to snowball down the hill well into the next year. This isn't something that's just going to get fixed overnight, especially when inflation continues to be a problem. The last couple inflation readings have been consistently higher than where it was predicted to be. Even the Fed has revised up what their inflation predictions are going to be now that we're in 2025. They've realized it's not going to be as low as they originally thought. You know, I have a viewer too who writes me regularly about what's going on with the debt collections industry, and he's been telling me the last couple of times he's wrote me that things are busier than ever. You know, they're hiring people, the offices are expanding, and it's to the point where, you know, there's too much work that people can't even handle it. That's how many delinquencies are going into collections now. And another way that we know that this problem, along with all the rest of the economic troubles that we're having, is going to continue to get worse is because of the continued unemployment issues we're having in this country. Really, if we go back to May of 2024, it's been harder and harder for people to get a job who have lost a job since then. If we take a look at this chart here, this shows the continued claims and the 4-week moving average of continued claims from the Department of Labor. And you can see both trajectories have been on the rise since May of 2024, with really no signs of slowing down. And if you look at how much it's up since 2022, we've surpassed those levels by quite a bit now. And here's the thing that we really need to pay attention to, which is the insured unemployment, okay? After someone expires all their unemployment benefits, they become uninsured unemployment, and the Labor Department stops tracking them. So most states, after 26 weeks of unemployment benefits, you fall off. You don't count anymore as being unemployed, even if you are still unemployed, simply because you're no longer eligible to collect unemployment benefits. So when we take into consideration all of those people that have been unemployed for quite some time, then the situation becomes even more dire. And that's where this chart here comes in. This shows the impact of those who are unemployed but no longer eligible for unemployment insurance. And when we look at the blue line in particular on this graph, we can see it is just skyrocketing right now because that is the combination of continued unemployment claims plus the people who have been unemployed for 27 weeks or longer, and that number is just shooting up, guys. And in the past, every time you can see that all these indicators started shooting up, what do you notice? They coincide with those gray lines that are recessions. So similar to the SOM rule about how quickly unemployment is rising. I talked about the SOM rule a lot over this past summer. This is almost a guaranteed indicator that we are heading into a recession right now, at least the official recession, right? Most of us know that the real recession has already begun a while ago, and all of that is evident based on everything we just talked about already. And of course, the sad truth is all of these financially hard times lead to something that people hope that they never have to experience in their life, which is homelessness. Do you think it's a coincidence that we're seeing these credit card delinquencies reach the same level as we saw in 2008 or the highest level since then? Do you think that's a coincidence that that's happening at the same time the homeless rates jump by double digits in 2024? These are all clear indicators that life is becoming too expensive. People can't afford to live anymore. So obviously people are struggling to be able to afford rent, their utilities, their groceries, and all kinds of things like that. And across the U.S. right now, we have more than 771,000 people who live without housing in 2024. And that's just according to one night's count in January. Okay, so obviously that was like a year ago, and that's just one night. So that number is probably highly inaccurate. But the startling thing is, even though that number is probably highly inaccurate, that number is 18.1% higher than the January reading in 2023 when they counted about 650,000 officially homeless. The January of 2022 reading was 580,000. So you can see this number continues to rise exponentially year over year, just like people's personal debt levels. And with housing affordability where it is right now, which is practically unaffordable for almost everyone, it's no surprise that this is the case. The officials blame it on a combination of a couple different things. They say it's obviously housing costs, but it's also an influx of migrants and shelters, and also natural disasters that have left many areas that used to have homes now don't have homes. Think of like hurricanes, fires, flooding, stuff like that, that has basically wiped out a lot of places to live. And also you got all these sanctuary cities that thought it was a great idea to just take in all these migrants that were pouring in from across the border. Turns out that has hurt us in more ways than one. Those local cities' resources get constrained to the point where they can't help their locals anymore, and then it creates more problems than it solves, which is now the result of that. Denver and Chicago, which were key sanctuary cities, have actually recently ended their migrant shelters, so they're not taking in any more people because they've realized that this is financial doom for their cities. But here's something else that I didn't even think of, is they say because they do these annual homeless counts in January, then you can be sure that it is an undercount because in January, pretty much everywhere and throughout the country, it's cold, right? And people seek shelter during this time, so naturally you're going to count far fewer people in January than you would, say, in the middle of July. Now, the policymakers and all the people in charge say that we need to have a wider safety net for people so that way they don't become homeless to begin with. Obviously, the first thing I think of when I hear that is we need to spend more money from the government, right? Which ultimately means more taxes, like we talked about earlier, that regular people have to pay because the corporations get to write off billions and billions of dollars in bad loans from the credit card companies. Right off the bat, doesn't sound very appealing to the average American who's working hard just to get by and pay taxes to make sure they don't become homeless. What do they even consider to be homeless? Some people are homeless by choice, right? Just walk through the streets of LA or San Francisco where you see all these people hanging out doing drugs and all of that. Do you think that they want a place to live? They don't, because they can't get away with that kind of stuff in the shelters where it's free. They've come out numerous times and said this themselves. Every time I go to California for the summer, I see the news stories about this, and it's always the same old thing. They have shelters available, they offer it to people, and then they end up not taking it because they don't want to be in there. They don't want to follow the rules. They'd rather be on the street. So I would say, at least my opinion is that if that's the case, then that person should not count as homeless, because even though they're technically homeless, or they should at least divide it up into two categories. You have voluntary homelessness and involuntary homelessness, because I think it's a completely different situation where you have a family that's fallen on hard times and now they're living in an RV parked on the side of the road, right? That's involuntary homelessness. It's not like, they're throwing all their money away on gambling or drugs or whatever. They might be, but chances are they've just fallen on hard times and can't afford a place to live anymore. Maybe one of them lost a job, there was a health problem, whatever, right? But if you're squandering the money away on drugs or gambling or alcohol or whatever the case may be, that's a completely different story. And even though that person does technically need help, you cannot help someone who doesn't want help or doesn't want to help themselves. That's the problem that a lot of people are facing with this. You can't just force someone to get on board with your program if they don't want to. But I do fully believe that we should be helping the people that want help, people that have fallen on hard times and need to get back on their feet. There should be more of a safety net for people like that. But the resources should all be concentrated on helping people like that and moved away from the people who don't want the help. Stop wasting the money on the lost causes, essentially. I know that might sound harsh to some of you out there listening to this, but let's just get realistic. Our country is broke. Our local governments are broke. They're raising taxes like there's no tomorrow on everybody. And if you want to just keep going with the status quo, the way things are going now, you can guarantee that the taxes are going to keep rising exponentially until we're all homeless. Now, one last tip for the people who are in massive amounts of debt, like we talked about at the beginning of this video, and are having a hard time getting out of it. Usually, you only have a couple of options. You can either choose to go the bankruptcy option, which has a lot of negative consequences for you well into the future, or you can be more responsible and pay off that debt and find a way to get out of it. And one way that people look to is debt consolidation. Right now, the average American has close to $8,000 in credit card debt, and that's just credit card debt. We're not talking auto loan debt. We're not talking student loan debt. We're not talking mortgage debt, any other type of debt, just credit card debt. So it is a tremendous amount of debt. So the main reason you would want to consider debt consolidation is just because you might be able to get an overall lower interest rate across all of your debts than you had before, which in the end will make it easier to pay them down. And here's how you know if you might be a good candidate for this, okay? If you have between $10,000 and $50,000 in debt, okay? You have a credit score above 680. You have a debt-to-income ratio below 45%, and you have strong cash flow for payments. Now, right away, when I read off this checklist, it makes me think like, well, if you were already in this good a shape financially besides the debts, you probably wouldn't have so much debt, right? Not necessarily true. because some people fall on hard times. Some people also just irresponsible with money as well. And the thing is, guys, if this is you, you should consider doing something like this debt consolidation sooner than later if you're a good candidate for it, because the interest rates on all these loans, especially credit cards, probably aren't going to be going down anytime soon. So the longer you wait, the more debt you're going to compile in this time frame. But sometimes it might not make sense to do this, especially if you have an unstable income or you have a credit score that's below 640. Then you might be better off doing credit counseling or debt management programs instead. And even if you do decide to go the debt consolidation route, one thing you want to make sure is that the interest rate that you're going to be paying on your debt consolidation loan is lower than what you already have. Because if you do have a bad credit score or something that can potentially cause your interest rate to be higher, qualifying for a new loan, you may actually be in a worse situation doing the debt consolidation than just sticking with what you have. So some things you might want to do if debt consolidation is not for you is, obviously, you need to have a budget. Then you need to use things like the snowball method to pay off debt, where you pay off your lowest credit card balance first, and then you take the money that you were paying for that and put it towards your second highest credit card balance, and keep rinsing and repeating that until all your cards are paid off, and in the meantime, you stop using the cards. You can also move your balances to balance transfer credit cards. That's how I ended up getting out of credit card debt myself. It gives you a time frame, usually 12 months, 18 months, even 24 months, depending on the card, to pay your credit card debt at 0% interest. You pay a percentage of the debt that you owe as a transfer fee when you transfer to the card, so they do make something off of you, but that's a negligible amount compared to the amount of interest you would pay over those next 18 to 24 months. So if you're diligent and you throw a lot of money at the debt after you have 0%, you can pay it down relatively quickly, because now your debt is not accumulating more debt month after month in the form of compounding interest. You can also try to negotiate with your lenders to see if you can get any sort of debt forgiveness, or see if you can get any of your interest rates lowered, especially if you have been paying on time, you just haven't been responsible with money and you got yourself into too much debt. That's another possibility as well. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, if you're somebody who has fallen on hard times financially, and you are one of these statistics, or you're on your way to becoming one, you have to do something about it. You can't just sit there and watch the numbers go up and worry about it later, because it is one of those situations where the time is of the essence, and the sooner you act, the sooner you're going to be able to get yourself out of this problem. You know, part of the reason I talk about all these major issues that we're having in our economy and the real estate market and everything like that is because I want people to hear this stuff and then prevent it from happening to them. That's what I want them to do. And I know a lot of you have written me plenty of emails and comments and things like that telling me this is exactly what you've done since you started watching my videos, which makes me extremely happy. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.
You're all right.
Before I move forward, I'm going to get another video up. Alright, that's that one. This one...
Well, for the first time.
Oh shit, this is just 3 minutes. Oh no, I'll thumbs up it because it's too short. It's only 3 minutes. It's a nice old lady. She's just warning you about some people are stealing shit in her area.
My name's Michael.
Oh, here's a good one.
I recently saw this post from a
Okay, so this one is from Chisha Zed. More and more teachers are quitting and not willing to risk their lives for students. The Coffee Pod. So, yeah, I'll put the link in the description.
I recently saw this post from a teacher saying she doesn't know if she would lay down her life to protect her students in case there was violence in the building. And a lot of people were like, that's an inside thought. You shouldn't say that out loud. This is why I'm homeschooling my kids. And I disagree. I think these should be outside thoughts. I think we should really start confronting the idea that teachers are expected to be frontline soldiers now because we're so used to violence in our schools.
So there's this conversation happening right now with teachers and whether they should be shields or willing to die for their students. Now, of course, the situation is attached to the countless amount of tragic situations that have happened in schools. But there's also another conversation being had about how students today are highly out of control. And the teachers can't discipline the students, but they're expected to lay down their lives for these children who they cannot discipline. More on that later. Let's keep listening.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Because she was like, I love my students, I love my job, but I have a baby to get back home to, and I don't know if I would want to make that sacrifice. And people wholeheartedly expected her to make that sacrifice, or to at least not say that she doesn't want to out loud. But teachers aren't soldiers. They're not firefighters. They're not police officers. They have no business risking their lives so that they can do things like teach the ABCs or calculus. And the only reason that we can think otherwise, the only reason that we forget that teachers are people with their own complex lives outside of the classroom and expect them to risk their lives for any reason, is because we have become so used to violence in our schools. And I think more teachers need to point out the fact that they do want to make it home to their families and to their kids at the end of the day as well. And I think more teachers need to be able to say that that is a sacrifice that they don't want to think about making or feel pressured that they need to make without being, shunned or belittled or ostracized. Because all day long, these are the people who, for minimum wage or less, work really, really hard to educate the next generation. And that should be enough. Their classroom should not be a war zone. Their lives should not hang in the balance. And we, as people, should not expect that of them. Because as the daughter of a teacher, I know with confidence my mom would lay down her life to protect her students. But that means I would lose my mom. And while she'd be a hero and I completely understand why she would do it, I'd be pretty angry that she had to. Because at the end of the day, my mom is a teacher, not a soldier. And we need to remember that.
Okay, so that's good to know. At the beginning of this video, I actually thought that this woman was a teacher. And that's interesting. Right? What did she say there? She said, I know without a doubt that my mother as a teacher would lay down her life for her students. But she's not okay or comfortable with that because she's not in her mom's shoes, right? She probably doesn't have the same passion for those children that her mother has, understandably so.
So I can't correct little Billy Joe's attitude when he's cussing at me during my lesson. Or I can't call you to come and get your child from school when they've thrown a desk across the room at me, and you don't respond to anything until report cards come out to let you know that your child is failing. But you want me to take a bullet for your child? Put the methamphetamine down.
So this lady's actually a teacher. You guys know I have a soft spot for teachers. I wasn't the best student. I think I gave some teachers a difficult time. But I have a handful of really impactful teachers that I really respected and looked up to because they believed in me. And I never forgot some of these teachers. So I can, from the outside looking in, try my best to understand where this teacher's coming from. I don't know what it's like to be a teacher and be worried about violence in the classroom from somebody who's trying to hurt everybody. So I can do my best to hear what she's saying there and understand as an outsider where this teacher's coming from. This is a sensitive subject and you probably are going to offend people no matter what way you choose to have this particular conversation. But when you really think about what's being said here, you can see a lot of parallels between what she's saying and what you hear a lot of people say about men protecting women out in the general public. And I'm not talking about they're necessarily the same thing, as much as I'm approaching this from a perspective of responsibility without authority. You know, you can't expect somebody to have responsibility to protect you without them having authority, or at least a degree of authority in your life. Then that means that someone can talk to you any type of way. Someone can curse you out. Someone can treat you any way they want to, or they can jump in front of traffic, right? They can put themselves in danger. And in the relationship of student and teacher, you have all these students who are disrespectful, and they're not just talking back. These kids are threatening to put their hands on teachers. They're going to parents and trying to say, hey, your kid is a problem. And those parents are turning back and attacking those teachers. And there's a lack of authority that teachers possess. The psychology behind this, people don't understand this. In return, you don't feel any type of responsibility, real responsibility on that person's life when you have zero authority and are not able to have a say-so when it comes to the decisions that they make that would then impact you if you're responsible for them. You get what I mean? The same way that if you're dating a woman, there are a bunch of feminists out here who say, oh, you can't tell her she can't walk out in an alleyway in the worst neighborhood in a major city because that's controlling. She should be able to do that. Oh, and by the way, when she calls you and says, I'm getting robbed, someone's here attacking me, you should go down there and risk your life for that woman. I believe there's like a parallel here when it comes to this situation. If you want teachers to have a need, a desire, because I believe teachers in the past probably felt a stronger responsibility because they could discipline the kids. In a way, it was sort of like, these are my children to an extent. But now they're just supervisors with limited authority to actually enact any level of discipline. And that probably changes the way, the psychology behind how much responsibility they're willing to take on to protect these kids, as harsh as that may sound.
I'm trying to figure out when it became the teacher's job to teach my kids how to be a decent person. It's not their job to teach my child character. They don't listen at school. That's my fault. I teach them discipline at home. They teach them whatever academic subject. I teach them how to be a decent human being. I send an undisciplined kid to school and wonder why they're not excelling and then get mad at the teacher. No, then get mad at the teacher for disciplining your child like they're your child's parent because you're not doing the parenting. I'm not saying these schools are perfect. They got mega flaws. I'm not even going to lie. But it's our job to raise our children, not the school.
All right, there's that. I think we've got like a few more videos here. Here's a teacher who released a video recently I thought was interesting. It says, trigger warning, economic trauma. Our students won't be teachers because they see us, meaning they see how life ends up for teachers. Are there teachers out there that make decent money, really good money? Yes. But I don't think teachers get paid what they should when it comes to the impact a good teacher really, really makes on the life of a child, who then progresses to having professors who are also highly impactful to that student's life in the long run.
So I just heard myself say to a cashier, oh yeah, I went to that college. He saw it on my lanyard. And I said, oh yeah, I went there, but like it really helped, And he was like, oh man, I'm in college right now. Should I drop out? And I just was being myself because I wasn't at school. I wasn't being a teacher. I wasn't being a mom. And I just said, well, I certainly wouldn't be a teacher if I was going to be anything. I said maybe like a plumber, an electrician, a doctor, a real estate agent. If I could go back in time, I would have just done real estate. My mom has made significantly more money than me in the last 15 years of being a real estate agent, when I have dedicated my entire life to my students, and I have to budget at the grocery store to an embarrassing degree now. And the amount of taxes and retirement we pay into as teachers, combined with the fact that even though it's a little bit, we spend money on the classroom like regularly. Like we can't not, So
they're spending money on the classroom, their own money is what it sounds like.
Have to bring in candy. You have to bring in pencils, like whatever. Even if you didn't have to do that dumb little amount, The reality is in California, we're drowning. We're drowning financially. I got 2 master's degrees, and my parents did so much better than me as high school dropouts. And I don't want to be mean, but they literally got a house down the street over here with fake tax returns and 2 minimum wage jobs, one of which I think was not even real. And that house is worth like $850,000 now. And in order to get, a little bit of help with my kids, I need to live within the area because the traffic's so bad now. And so I'm renting an $800,000 house so I can live by my mom, but that still doesn't mean that she's available for emergencies. So I am paying to live and do everything by myself. I'm doing 100% of it by myself, and it's expensive. And I have been doing it by myself this entire time for 8 years, and I'm drowning. And I don't know how other teachers are doing it. And every month I'm like, God will provide, God will provide. And it's like, when is it going to get better? So in conclusion, don't be a teacher. If you're going to be a teacher, make sure that your family is going to help you with a down payment on a house. Make sure that you're going to have a partner who's going to split the bills the entire time and not leave you. But no, I tell girls now, like, go into sales. Go into sales. I got a job offer for Eli Lilly because I waited on the reps in LA at my restaurant job. They offered me jobs over and over and over again, $100,000 to start, free Mercedes, expense account, you're perfect for it. And I turned them down because I wanted to, I cared about my morals.
What? She was selling what? Do sales reps not have morals? I understand where she's coming from. I guess I don't know the company. I've worked some sales jobs where I've seen immoral things happening there. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out what she meant by that. Maybe they were selling something that she didn't believe in fully, and so she felt morally obligated, is what it sounds like, to her passion for teaching and her passion for students. Which, if she could do it all over again, it sounds like she would not take that pursuit.
My morals have me looking for used bikes on OfferUp now for my children for Christmas. And I know there are other people in better situations with a teacher's salary. It's just that since I don't have a support system, the only way I can have one is to live by them. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to try to be nice about this. Teachers did not sign up for this job expecting to be shot. I graduated from my undergrad in 2015, and not once in a single class did any professor bring up the idea that we would be shot in school. So no, when you get into teaching, you do not expect to be a human shield for children. If I wanted to do that, I would have joined the military. If they want us to be human shields, then we should be getting hazard pay, we should be getting TRICARE benefits, we should be getting bulletproof vests, we should be getting all of the military National Guard gear that they get to protect themselves. So why don't we get that?
I agree with that.
And then also, if you're going to arm teachers, are we going to get a professional development on, how to use it? Who's funding that? Look at me. Y'all want me with a firearm in school?
No. Actually,
I think any teacher would do what they can to protect their children in that situation. I do not think it is an expectation that we are literally throwing ourselves in front of bullets. I have 2 babies to get home to, and a husband and pets. Stop getting mad at teachers for wanting to keep themselves safe and go home at the end of the day, and instead call your politician, tell them you want gun reform. And call your politician and tell them you want better funding for mental health services, because the funding for mental health services sucks. It's trash.
Yeah, gun reform. Listen, that's, now that's a whole nother subject. Again, passionate. I won't get into that because I don't think I'm well versed enough to have that conversation. But when it comes to raising children, being a parent, I think there's something that needs to be done. Because these students are still violent, they're still unruly, still out of control, even without the firearms.
Real quick, do y'all realize that teachers are there to teach your children subjects in school and not as bulletproof vests or to act as the police? I keep hearing a conversation around a teacher who said that she would hesitate or she doesn't know if she'll protect her students in an emergency or something like that. I need y'all to realize that the larger conversation needs to be, how do we protect our children? How do we keep insane people or even people who are obviously suffering from mental health, or even other children who are suffering from mental health? How do we fix that? How do we protect our children needs to be the larger conversation. Because at the end of the day, teachers are not parents. They are not policemen. They are not there to act as bodyguards in security. And as a parent myself, I recognize that, again, teachers are there to teach.
Listen, of course, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Very deep and highly complex topic here. If you're engaged or soon to be married and you are a man, head over to fathershaverights.com. Get free legal information on preparing yourself legally for marriage. We're talking about prenuptial agreements here. Consider joining Brew Brothers. Link pinned to the top of the comment section. Guys, I appreciate you. Till next time. Peace.
Oof, that's going to be rough right there. All right, let me get another video up. I'm only at 41 minutes. At least it looks like it's recording smooth. So I guess we're okay there.
Hello.
All right, so this is a guy that I don't always agree with, but he's called the enemy from within, ... Thing is, Elon Musk screws MAGA again, MAGA. So I don't know what MAGA is. I've been trying to figure that out. Anyway, here we go.
Hello, my friends. How are you? Always a pleasure to see you for another video. Today, we're going to talk about how Elon Musk has screwed over MAGA yet again. And I got to be honest with you, it's kind of a rough time in our lives right now, isn't it? And it's probably only about to get worse. But you have to find the humor in some things. And one of my favorite things in our timeline right now is how Elon Musk continues to mess with MAGA over and over. And he is breaking their little hearts over there on Twitter right now. I'm not going to call it X. I'm not some edgelord on the internet like Elon Musk. So we're definitely going to talk about that because he has got them all fired up yet again like he does. And they'll be back for more because they like it, I guess. I don't really know. Before I get into that, there is something I want to talk about real quick. I was watching a Midas Touch video earlier where they were discussing Honduras was saying maybe they would have America close down whatever military bases they have there. Just all the different things that Donald Trump is doing to piss off the rest of the world and causing them to retaliate in different sort of ways. I am not a foreign affairs expert. I wouldn't claim to know more than I actually know. It's one of the things I have to do on this channel, my friends. I have to know what I don't know. So I'm not going to talk about that topic, but what I am going to say, because I know a lot of people from different countries watch this channel, appreciate having you here. That's really cool that you're here. I want you to know if this matters or it doesn't matter. There are a lot of Americans that are not on board with Donald Trump's bullshit, okay? I know that there are people in different countries that are kind of worried, what's he going to do, what's going on with him? And we don't really know either. but we don't stand with him in his crazy bullshit. There is a lot of us that think the way that I do, and I'm sorry that he's doing things that is making you nervous, making threats and things like that. I don't know what comes of it. I really don't, because if I know anything about Donald Trump, he's just a big bully and he's trying to get a reaction. If you give him a reaction, then he thinks he's won. But if you don't give him a reaction, sometimes bullies go away, and sometimes that makes them even more upset. I want you to know we're not all standing with Donald Trump on this bullshit that he does. I hope that helps, all right? So let's get back to Elon Musk pissing off MAGA yet again. Elon Musk has decided that he is going to change the algorithm of X, X, Twitter. I said I wasn't going to call it X, didn't I? Twitter, that little hate website over there where they all gather around and do their little hate speech thing that they do. Well, Elon now wants to change the algorithm so that it shows more positivity over on Twitter. That's right, my friends. Today we're going to take a heartwarming journey through the positivity of Twitter. Earlier while I was driving, I was making myself crazy because I was thinking about this video, and I kept saying probability in my head, and I'm like, it's not probability. Here's what I was actually thinking, all right, my friends? I'm like, it's not probability. What is that positive word for positivity? Oh, positivity. That's what I've been looking for. So what I mean to tell you is my old brain is slipping on me, my friends, and the very word I was thinking about was the word I was using to think about. You guys get the fucking point. Anyways, Elon Musk has found himself very upset with the website or app that he bought and how negative it is, which is shocking considering that he bought it for the negativity. Elon Musk is an absolute monster. He's a fucking menace, that man. And he bought Twitter. He may have outsmarted MAGA again. I don't want to give him too much credit because I do believe also that he is a hateful little prick himself, but he bought it solely for the purpose of controlling information, as we know. That's what Elon Musk wanted to do. Now, there must be a reason that a man that rich wants to control information. What is it that he wants? Well, a couple things. It turns out all that money didn't buy Elon a whole lot of happiness in his life, did it? Yeah, he's a real grumpy Gus over there. Real upset that nobody's paying enough attention to him. And if he could be the center of attention on the internet's town square, my God, wouldn't that be fantastic? Turns out it didn't make him feel any better. Elon Musk is just an empty shell of a man. And at this point, he kind of fucking deserves it, right? But we know that. He wanted to be the center of attention. Look at Elon Musk. Look at all these great things he's doing. Yes. And there's no amount of praise or money or anything that will ever make that man feel better. Just the way it is. And I don't care if he ever feels better. But there also must be a reason he wanted to control information. Well, I think he's still got a lot of popularity amongst obviously the crypto bros, things like that. There's a lot of people that made a lot of money from Elon Musk off of his Tesla stocks. I know a few people myself that did very well buying Tesla early. I don't even know if those people will have jobs anymore. They made a lot of money. What I'm trying to say is there are a lot of people out there that are very loyal to Elon Musk because of the things he did before he went over to MAGA. That was not enough power for him. So he decided he was going to grab up Twitter, turn it into a hate space for MAGA people under the guise of free speech. You guys know, do any of you know a person like that in your life that just says the most horrible shit in the world? I grew up with people like that. Like they would just say god-awful shit to you. And if you would push back and go, what the fuck is your problem? Why are you talking to me like this? They go, I have freedom of speech. You guys ever been around people like that? It wasn't until I got older and I started reading. Yeah, I did a little bit of reading, and I would always start to respond to them then. Do I look like I'm from the federal government to you? Do you feel like you're being prosecuted for your speech right now? And they would always respond, huh? Which means the conversation went fucking nowhere. But people that always talk about their freedom of speech and how they're being censored always want to say the most horrible shit that's come out of anybody's mouth, and they consider any pushback on that, any disagreement, any response to what they say that is not agreeing with them as a violation of their freedom of speech. Can you believe the fucking arrogance you must have to think that your opinion is the only one that matters? And if you didn't say that, if you didn't agree, then your free speech has been violated. Yeah. I guess people that think like that think freedom of speech applies to them and them only. They sound like entitled brats to me, but I could be fucking wrong about that. I've been wrong before in my life. I don't know. I may have it all wrong. Anyways, what I've learned is anytime somebody starts bitching about censorship and then a new platform shows up and people go, you need to go to that platform because you're not censored, I know that place is going to be a fucking cesspool, is what it's going to be. I remember a few years ago, you guys know Rumble, the video sharing webpage, came up and people started running to Rumble. Not a lot. I don't think it really took off. But that when they said we're an uncensored platform for videos, I knew it was just going to be a hate speech platform. It was just going to be real ugly. And I remember people telling me when I was doing trucking YouTube videos, they're like, dude, you need to go to Rumble so you don't get censored. Let me tell you something. I have been doing YouTube in some capacity for well over 10 years now, and I have never ever had so much as a community guideline strike. And I talk like this. Can you believe it? You know why? Because I'm not actually breaking the fucking rules. I read the goddamn things, and I'm allowed to say what the fuck I'm saying. And every once in a while, my friends, you know, this is a monetized channel, of course. I'm telling you this for a reason. Every once in a while, I put out a video, and it gets the little yellow monetized sign, which means limited monetization, which means they're probably not going to play a whole lot of ads on that. A video that would have, I don't know, hypothetically made you $200 off that video. You might make $2, you might make $20, right? And I've always accepted that as, all right, I got a little bit out of line, shit happens, on to the next video. It's never bothered me that I fucking went a little too far. This one might get limited monetization, who fucking knows, right? But the point is, it's always going to be a fucking cesspool. Always. So when Elon Musk says, oh, we're going to do away with censorship, everybody with their head not in their ass knows full well that he was saying that was a dog whistle. Where he said, come over here and say all your hateful shit. So maybe I'll do the weave like Donald Trump. Back to what I was saying earlier, he had so much support of some crypto bros, people that have bought his stock, maybe even people on the left still, and that wasn't enough for him. So he specifically said, we're going to stop censorship on Twitter because he said it because, sorry, I got ahead of myself in my brain there. He said it because he knew it would attract MAGA. That's exactly why he did that. And now he was MAGA's hero. He has given them a place where they can say all the bullshit in the world that they want to say. He didn't fucking mean that. What he meant was, pay attention to me, help me win an election so that I can continue to plunder the United States for all of its fucking resources, which is definitely the goal of Elon Musk. Elon Musk, what a fucking guy, right? So, anyways, the point is, now he has said there's just too much negativity over there on Twitter. Who would have thought that inviting a bunch of MAGA into your home, basically, your webpage, would have brought negativity? I don't invite MAGA people anywhere because I fucking know better, all right? I'm not that dumb that I would think that this would be a good plan. But he knew full well what he was doing. He was just trying to get them over there to support him. That way, Elon Musk, when he swoops in to save the day to help Donald Trump win an election, MAGA owes him something at that point. And that's kind of the way a lot of this shit works. So, boy, so it's funny. There was one lady, I don't know who she was. I don't even know if she's like a well-known person or whatever. I just happened to see the post over on, I think Blue Sky. Somebody had reposted it. And she was mad at Elon Musk and said, you lured us here under the guise that we would have free speech. It was like a mile long because when you get a MAGA worked up, they fucking type for days, don't they? Holy shit. No punctuation, no capitalization. And then when you ask them to clear that up so you can read it, then they get mad at you because apparently everything MAGA does is your fault. But anyways, what was funny about it is she started it off with, you lured us here because of free speech. Yeah, well, this is kind of a you problem. You're dumb enough to get lured into something, all right? Listen, I've been there, all right? I've fallen for some bullshit in my life. Here's what you do. You don't whine and bitch and complain about it. You live and you learn and you move the fuck on, all right? It is now apparent to you that Elon Musk will do everything he can along the way to betray you. Now, if I know MAGA, that's not good enough for them. They will come back for more. Listen, I run this YouTube channel, right? These MAGA dorks don't fucking like me, but they keep coming back. There's a pattern with them. If you verbally abuse them, they keep coming back for more. They voted for Donald Trump, who does not like them. I'm getting to a point on this video where sometimes I keep verbally abusing the same guy over and over. I don't know if we need to establish a safe word so I know when to stop, or what we need to do. Look, it's not the first time in my life I've had to work with a safe word, all right? We can work this out. What I'm saying is there is a trend, a pattern amongst MAGA. It's why they voted for Donald Trump. He don't like them. He tells them every day that he don't like them. And Elon Musk has told them over and over that he don't like them, and they get off on this shit. They fucking love it. They come back, they vote for it, they support it, all these things, and fucking it's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious, my friends. And another thing though, Elon Musk and his changes to the algorithm. One of the new rules of Twitter, did you guys see this shit? One of the new rules of Twitter is you won't be able, I don't know verbatim the wording, so cut me some slack here, but you won't be able to criticize public figures. It's one of the new rules of Twitter. Look, I just read it on the internet. I'm not saying it's true. I just read it on the internet. Let's say that it is true. Who is Elon Musk talking about? Elon Musk. Elon Musk is making a rule that you can no longer criticize Elon Musk on Elon Musk's platform. And with that, Elon Musk may have possibly become a bigger bitch than Donald Trump. Whining and crying and bitching about what other people said about you, to the point that now you're making a rule. Now you can't criticize a public figure. How about that? How about that? But listen, my friends, maybe I'm being naive, but every day Elon Musk continues to push the buttons of MAGA and make them more and more angry. I know I said in the last video that that I was just kind of hoping that maybe this was his plan all along. Elon Musk infiltrated MAGA on purpose so that he could destroy it from the inside, end the MAGA movement for good, come out and finally tell us all what his grand plan was, and we find out that he really was a genius. He's just a really good manipulator also. You don't have to be a good manipulator to get MAGA on your side. You just have to be a little bit manipulative. You don't have to be that good, honestly. I could probably get him on my side if I tried real hard. start making him believe all the shit I believe in. It wouldn't be that damn difficult. But anyways, I just have that tiny sliver of hope that that's going to happen. But unfortunately, like I did say in the last video, any man that's got that kind of money never gave a damn about someone else along the way anyways, because I can guarantee you, my friends, if for some reason I become a very rich man, I won't have that much money. That's for damn sure, because there were people along the way that need help, right? And it's never going to be that. Elon Musk never set out to plan to take down MAGA and then expose it to all of us and let us know that he was really doing the Lord's work. All it is Elon Musk saw a gullible group of people that are treating an elderly man that stuffs cheeseburgers down his throat all the time as the second coming of Christ. And he said, before that man drops off the planet, I'm going to swoop in and I'm going to take leadership of that same group. I'm going to manipulate them. But Elon Musk is miscalculating just a little bit because he is finding that it's not as easy to convince them of the things that he's saying, because sometimes some of the things he's saying have to do with being like a reasonable, decent person. When you're talking about censorship, now don't think I'm calling Elon a reasonable, decent person, but when you talk about censorship, a lot of times when you break the rules on a platform is because you're being an asshole. So when he says censorship, he's talking about stop being an asshole, right? And he's never going to get them over to his side. But I believe that I see right through this. This is exactly what Elon is trying to do. He's trying to take over the MAGA movement and get everyone to come with him. And he's doing good work for us, I think, indirectly, because he will fracture them. He will cause them to scatter in different directions. I am waiting for them to all boycott Twitter. Hopefully that happens. And then it will take them a couple years to really decide on the platform they're all going to come together on. It won't be fucking Blue Sky. I got to give Blue Sky a little bit of credit. Laura Loomer had went over, created a Blue Sky account and did not even post anything before she was banned. I know a lot of people on the right screaming censorship. She's being censored. Blue Sky knew what she was going to do. She's already proven that she's a hateful fucking person, and they did the right thing. If you can't follow the terms of service of the app that you're using, it's no one else's fault that you couldn't be bothered to fucking read. With that said, my friends, I am starving to death. This place I'm at has some, decent hot dogs as far as truck stop hot dogs go. You at least probably won't shit yourself, and that's as good as it gets here sometimes. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to head on down the road, all right? Bye now.
Damn, that was a bitch. So I had to finish that up. All right. Now, I completely disagree with this guy, but I'm a sub, and I'm listening to what he says because he doesn't present any real facts other than hearsay, because I've never seen Elon or Trump say anything bad, and he sounds a lot like Joy Reid. He's like a male white version of Joy Reid, slamming down on those two characters, and I just don't see what his point is. If there's a rule that says you can't talk bad about political figures, that rule would go against the Second Amendment, which is free speech, and I don't know if that's a fact. He says he read it on there, that he changed the rules. He's probably changing the rules so that, to protect himself, like he's saying. I personally know business people. They do all kinds of things to protect themselves from prosecution, accountability, liability. And by my business standards that I'm aware of, that is quite normal. Okay. Let me go ahead and let's see if we can get another one. here's another Shisha ZED. Shisha Z. This is passport bro makes the biggest mistake of his life. Filipina wife is Americanized. Yeah, the innocence doesn't last long in this country. The Coffee Pod by Shisha Z.
My Filipino wife has been Americanized. My Americanized Filipino wife. That seems to be triggering a lot of people. Let me explain what I mean. In America, if a wife, even a girlfriend, is not happy in the relationship, all she has to say to the world on social media, and especially to the government, I'm not happy. And if she drops the word abused or anything along those lines, the American system steps in. It steps in to protect her against any for any allegations that she makes. And the man's side of the story is, it's all assumed. I'm an evil, controlling, patriarchal, oppressive white dude. And the narrative quickly, instantly becomes me bad, she victim. So the fight that we're having, that's still there. Okay, that's always going to hang over my head. I'm a passport bro. I brought her here. I married her here.
Try not to make this too easy, will you?
You know why I did that. If you've been watching this channel for a few years, you know exactly why I did that. Just keep listening.
I signed all the government forms saying that I will support her for a minimum of 10 or 1,000 years. I don't know. I don't even know what I signed. And all you dudes out there who have been through this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Americanized means weaponization of the male-female relationship to benefit the female, because family court is not a judicial system, it's a corporation. For profit, digging into the pockets of dads, of men. Because, yeah, we're in a patriarchal system and men still have most of the money. And now that's exactly what's true in our relationship. She doesn't have any money. I have all the money. And it's, you know, a relationship can go south when the woman has lost love for her man and she's just going for the bag. And if she goes for the bag, she's going to get a huge portion of that.
You're seeing right now, you're seeing exactly, and I mean exactly, this is almost too perfect. I'm sorry he's going through this. This is unfortunate, highly unfortunate. What you're seeing is exactly why I've told men many a times, do not, if you're a man who values the type of experience with the woman who, or you're interested, right, in going to a foreign country and dating, which I encourage you to go wherever you're appreciated, wherever you think you get the best return on your investment, even if that's here. But do not bring these chicks back to the U.S. And I've said this so many times over and over again. And the thing that blows my mind is I've actually had people argue in the comment section down below. Oh, it's fine, bring him. No, it's not. Very, very controversial opinion I have. But I do not care. You don't know who that woman is once she starts getting force-fed tea. You don't know if she's the type of chick who reject it and say, you know what, I want to embrace the traditional values that I was given in my home, the dynamics I saw within my family. More often than not, if you talk to even men who aren't passport bros, who brought their wives here from other countries, they struggle with their women embracing feminism. Some of them, it rips apart and destroys their marriages. And so let this be a lesson to any guy out here who may be considering and wondering, why should I not? Why not? Why should I not bring her here? And what's crazy to me is the same guys who will understand all these concepts, and this is not just about him, but they'll watch content like this, right? And I'm talking about men who value marriage here. They will marry these women without any legal protection. How are you doing that, man? How? How are you doing that with all the resources out here available to you? Oh, but prenups don't always work. Shut up. So what? Do nothing? You've got to protect yourself in some form or fashion, some way, right? I have a guide. Right now, it's 100% free. fathersofrights.com. I'm going to continuously push that. It walks you through how to draft a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement. And it's not me presenting the legal information. We have experienced attorneys there. But just seeing this, me knowing the guy didn't protect himself whatsoever, from what it sounds like, now she's over here claiming that she's abused, which I think is a way some of these chicks actually get citizenship, if they can claim that they're battered. It's just all bad. It's just all bad.
That's what I mean by Americanized. Jan is solidly Filipina, and that comes with a lot of stuff, and one of those things is she's going to be fiercely defensive for her family, her mom and dad, and this whole fight is hinging on the fact that I disrespected her mom and dad. Never mind that they disrespected me too, we'll get into that later, but Jan is not Americanized in that she's materialistic or even greedy. But she senses and she knows the support that she would get if things really got ugly between us. The American system is on her side, not mine, not the man's. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, that's it for now. More later.
What it sounds like is that there's context behind the story. I see down there it says J and viral video. You kind of want to check that out, see what that's about. What are people talking about? Oh, this is probably her. Is this her?
Evan, to me, you can do it.
No, he can't. Absolutely not. No way. You're a person as well.
So I guess
and you deserve to be treated with dignity.
She's getting the internet riled up on her side is what it sounds like. Oh,
Today is a special day. It's because we're going to Waikiki. Halika, samahan.
Oh, she's a Filipino housewife. He pays for her.
Someone who...
Okay, so it sounds like this here's the follow-up vid. And it starts off with her saying, he disrespected my parents. Let's listen.
Snatching some things verbally and physically. So what I am thinking that time, you are freely disrespecting me and abusing me. I think that's enough. You can do it. You can do it 24/7 to me. You can do it anytime. But to the point that you're gonna be disrespecting my people, especially my parents, I think that's what, draw the line. I think that's when the time that I said I want to separate. It's not because I wanted to separate just because I wanted it. I've dealt a lot with him for the last 2 years that I am here. For the last 2 years, I am standing up for myself. I know it's really difficult because I have children. And I honestly doesn't want to separate with him. It's just came out to my mouth that I'm so fed up. I'm so done. It's because I'm so hurt and he's not gonna change. There's no way that he will change. All I know is if I didn't stop or I didn't make a move, it's gonna be a normal. He's gonna disrespect me. He's gonna disrespect my people. He's gonna disrespect anyone. So this is just me that,
What did he do? She's divorcing him because he disrespected her parents? That's what I'm getting so far.
I mean, putting some boundaries.
Hate everything about me and what I provide and decide to leave.
He claims that I hated what he provides. As far as I remember, I'm always grateful for him. I'm always vocal, thanking him for my life right now. You can see my social media. I never criticizes him. It's always praising even though there's something going on inside our house. I will never speak or talk about our fights on my social media. It's because I am protecting him and I'm protecting my children. We have kids, The next 10, 20 years, there's gonna be social media and they might see this. I think
they're not going to might see this. They're definitely going to see this. I want to know more about what she's complaining about. But this chick has an aesthetic housewife TikTok, right? Kids, they have kids. Sounds like they've been married for a couple of years here. And sounds like he takes care of everything. They live in Hawaii, not a cheap place to live. So based on how this divorce might go, she's definitely coming up. Yeah.
Video. I got.
Let me see. Yeah. I wish I had more context. She's talking so slow in his videos.
We're going to do a series where we walk to the mailbox every day waiting for Jayanne to get her green card.
Yeah. Day one. Bill, this is for you. Oh, you cannot show that.
Social Security office.
Oh, shoot, man. We've seen all we need to see here. She got it. She's out of here.
What is it? Your Social Security card. You know what that means?
What?
It means if I die, you get all my Social Security.
She's like, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Yo, this is sad. I'm not laughing over your pain, bro. This is looking back. I'm going back to the older videos. She had a plan.
Really?
Yeah.
How much am I gonna get?
How much am I gonna get? She wants to know. Yo.
I don't know, about $100 a year.
$100?
Yeah, woohoo!
That's not what I came here for.
You won. You won the lottery.
That's the.
Okay, guys, stay tuned.
So, guys, of course, there are people who are chiming in about that whole Passport Bro situation, and they're happy to see a Passport Bro go through exactly this. Check it out.
Completely. The level of delusion that these passport bros have to live in to make this arrangement seem like it's based on something genuine and love-filled would be tragic if it weren't so exploitative. Because as a passport bro, you are on borrowed time, right? You don't see this other person as a human being. That's why you used your power and privilege and money to have some leverage over them. Their leverage over you is time, right? And so many of these passport bros have found themselves in these situations where they convince themselves that these are the women who will love them for what they provide and their money, etc. Key thing here being not for who they are as a person, because they've probably refused to evolve and grow as a person and become a legitimate, decent partner to women. When they were dating women where this wasn't the arrangement, they probably got a lot of feedback from women saying, this doesn't work for me, and your inability to be my partner in these ways doesn't work for me. And they went, well, I'm going to refuse to do that. And so they find themselves in these passport bro situations where they believe they found the formula.
Just keep in mind, guys, that this is the pipeline. And that man's wife, who's going through this tragic situation, she initiated this whole thing almost perfectly, right? The what not to be okay with. Brought her back here to the U.S. and immediately got where? On TikTok, where there's chicks like this woman.
The formula is power and privilege is on your side of the arrangement, and time is her leverage on her side of the arrangement. Because once she's had enough time there and she's been able to get herself into a different arrangement where she can be independent, she's gone. It's almost like we should be listening to women instead of just, I don't know, ending up in the same tragic, lonely patterns. Completely. The level of...
Listen to women.
Welcome to the top floor of my 4-story mansion in Honolulu, Hawaii on New Year's Eve 2025. And you know why I know that my Americanized Filipino wife is not going to leave me? She's pregnant. She may not love me, she may not want me, but she needs me. And that's what love is based on. Need. Don't fucking kid yourselves. Okay?
Shit.
Let's enjoy this New Year's Eve.
You underestimate my resources. Execute on my mark. so much left to conquer.
Ah, these are masterwork, and this is experimental. Wow. This is different levels. Okay. Did I miss anything? Make sure I didn't miss a terminal. I must have missed a terminal somewhere. Okay, it's down there. I must have missed a terminal somewhere. Because I'm missing one of each type of terminal. Shit. Is this open? No. Alright, well I didn't get the bonus, I guess. Damn it. I'm lacking one of each. Oh, it's Revon. Darth Revon.
What's happened? I can feel... No. No. What if... Leaving you here... You should... You serve the Emperor. I Your friend denies the Force's will to stay with you, help you. It was she who gave me the strength to resist all this time. I didn't realize that until now. The Emperor used me as his link to the light side of the Force, the Jedi Order. Through me, he saw visions. But that same link also gave me influence. I convinced the Emperor peace was in his best interest. Tempered his hate.
The peace is lost. The Emperor makes his final war. Stop him. Flee this place while you can. Use the enemy's vessels.
Thank you, old friend.
All right. Well. Looks like we finished this one up here. Yeah, I knew that was good. With the way these people were doing it, getting chicks from another country. Like I said, Brother Russell and I think it was Brother Steve, they went and they married Mexican girls, and Brother Russell couldn't even speak Spanish. And the Mexican girl he married couldn't speak English. But yet they got married, and Brother Russell bought a house. He was an older guy. And, and the Mexican girl was really, really young. So I never thought that was normal, but, I don't have a big thing on relationships or anything.
So many lost for my freedom. I met Master Otag. He left to inform Republic High Command of the casualties. They're devastating. You're a powerful Jedi, one of the greatest I've ever seen. Your strength will be needed for the war ahead.
As a Jedi, I strive for peace. But if war comes, I'm prepared to fight it.
You remind me of old friends, long gone. My link to the Emperor is broken, but I learned a lot as his prisoner. Centuries of knowledge. I'll share everything with the Jedi Council. Then, I'll end this blasted war and the Sith Empire. forever.
If you need allies, you can always call on me.
You gave me freedom. There's one secret. You should return to the...
Before I go,
Goodbye.
the Republic needs...
72. 8 more levels and I'm maxed out. Alright. So, mission log. So those missions are done. Now I could do Ilum. I think Ilum I'll probably fail. I can do Makeup. Makeup and Ilum I'm gonna suck. See if I can clean myself up a bit.
See anything you like, give me a wink. Bring your creds back anytime.
Thank you. It's lovely.
Alright guys, I'm going to end it here and I'm going to go position myself for the next mission. Been about an hour and a half, so I think this is good enough for now. Thanks for watching, and like I said, I'll put all the links in the description in case you want to see the actual original videos. Yeah, man. Some guys are so desperate they'll hook up with a foreign chick, and the thing is, he thinks that that chick was Americanized. The truth is that woman was always like that. It just took America to kind of bring it out of her a little bit more. But she was always like that, and he was blind to it. You could tell by the questions she would ask, like when she found out she's going to get his Social Security, she wanted to know immediately how much it was, and she was all fascinated, getting free money. I mean, no. I mean, she doesn't really ask, well, what does that mean to us? How does that affect us? So anyway, let me go ahead. I gotta get some of this extra equipment in there. So these kind of special equipment here, this kind of equipment, like this is special equipment, it's purple, and then the better one is gold, I believe. So for example, like that one has 252, the other one has 258. One is environmental, which is the purple version, and one is the other one. You see? And it has the opportunity to put mods in it. Right there. So if you didn't have any fancy equipment that'll take mods, you can run these missions again and again and again, eventually get a full set of this stuff. Now the thing is, I'm not sure you can remove the modifications, but you should theoretically be able to. And at the bottom, if you look at the description, it has special abilities. When you have more than one of these pieces of equipment, on, you get extra abilities. For example, right now, I have 2 pieces of masterwork ability. It says activating a healing ability has 15% chance to grant Force Mystics critical bonus, which causes your next dark infusion or deliverance to be critical. This effect can only occur once every 30 seconds. Right. But I'm playing a Jedi, a light character. So this equipment doesn't really give me that bonus because I don't have a dark infusion. Force stun, force mend. So anyway, I'll put this extra piece of equipment here. With all that extra stuff there. So we did pretty good with level 72 out of 80. 8 more levels and we're good. Thanks for watching. I'll end it here. Take care.